Hello everyone, today I want to compare the patch 4.0 limited banner characters Lyney, Yelan, Zhongli and Childe or Tartaglia in terms of anything combat related. To start us off, there will be a short rundown of each character individually to give you a short impression of their gameplay, and at the end I'll give you my opinion on which ones to prioritize. First, we have Lyney. This one is a classic main DPS or carry, meaning he will deal most of his damage while on field. He does so with a charge attack similar to Ganyu. Speaking of similarities, to support this playstyle, Lyney also has access to a taunt, but in my experience, this mechanic isn't super reliable, so you either need to get really good at positioning or slot in a shield character. And the parallels to Ganyu continue to appear when talking about teams. I think the main idea is either Mono Pyro, which is pretty safe and easy to play. Bennett has great synergy, then some utility Kazuha or Zhongli, or even a third Pyro character like maybe even Dia, or if Zhangling is used elsewhere. The alternative, some sort of meld team. In my mind, Rosaria seems really nice for this, though depending on Lyney's pyro application, there is a chance for it to turn into a reverse melt team. His modifiers look good enough to do this, but it wouldn't synergize well with one of his passives. As for the build, it's going to be a standard DPS stats with some charge attack damage from weapons like Hammer Yumi and the Wondrous Tube artifacts. For the reruns, I speed it up a little. First we have Yelan. This one is a regular sub DPS, meaning this character wants to deal damage while she is off field. She has really nice personal damage while also providing a dynamic damage buff. This can complicate your rotations a little bit, especially with characters who snapshot. For teams, basically she needs a main DPS doing a fair amount of normal attacks, and it's already pretty much impossible to go wrong with this character. So I'd rather tell you what you don't want with her. Pretty much any bow character using charge attacks like Ganyu, Tonari or unfortunately Lyney. But also teams that basically only use skills and never use any regular attacks. Next we have Zhongli. This one is a support, meaning he's all about some sort of utility. Most of it just happens by activating the shield on his elemental skill, which makes him really simple. But his burst skill can be good sometimes to crowd control or one-shot smaller enemies. As for teams, in my mind his offensive utility isn't good enough on its own, so in most cases you probably want to play him instead of a healer to give his shield some real value. There are exceptions to this though. His strongest is probably when shredding multiple resistances is worth it by running two different DPS at the same time, like Ganyu and Zhangling for example. Last we have Childe. This one is a classic main DPS, again dealing damage while on field. But managing his field time is key for this character especially. He's reliant on his elemental skill, which has a dynamic cooldown based on how long it was active, so you need to be very aware when to cancel it. I think generally you want it to last 7 to 8 seconds I believe, otherwise your rotation will be horrible. For teams, he can do most things involving Hydro, Freeze, Vaporize, Bloom Group stuff, but for this character, specifically even more important than team synergy is enemy lineup. He deals splash damage, so you want to have multiple targets on top of each other for his damage to really take off. Alright, that covers all the characters, and if you want my recommendation, it's a little tough this patch, but I think the highest priority has to be Zhongli. Shredding resistances to all elements simultaneously while having a big enough shield to easily sustain your team is very good. He might not always be the best choice, but there aren't a whole lot of teams or situations where he's actually bad, which is fairly important for the purpose of this video. It doesn't matter which characters you have, you can likely fit them into a team with Zhongli. If you really wanted to point out one negative thing, it's his annoying Geo Pillar. Be ready to randomly climb it or trigger Crystallize Unwanted. Next we have Yelan, and her skill kit is a little overloaded in my opinion. This is the reason why I had a tough time, cause I genuinely think she is the best character out of these. I ended up putting her in second place cause she is very energy hungry, which means you need really good artifacts and you could be a little nitpicky with her teams. You need an on-field character that actually scales well with her damage buff, and some teams focusing on transformative reactions are a little unconventional, like basically the ones I showcased in this video. Usually you build teams around main DPS like Raiden, Hu Tao, Ayaka, Yoimiya, or Ayato with Zhangling or Rosaria instead of this. Next with Childe, it's kind of wild because he is also a really good character. This patch has some really good banners. Though he is a little niche, his problem is basically single target damage. Against a single boss, Childe really doesn't feel that impressive. On the other hand, if you have the entire screen covered with monsters, he suddenly is one of the best characters in the game. His Riptide just cascades damage to everything around the target, kind of comparable to Ganyu's burst skill. Also, I should probably mention that he has a really high skill ceiling. If you mess up your rotation and end up with 25 seconds cooldown on his elemental skill, then there's nothing you can do, you just stand there waiting. Last we have Lyney. Again, he is really strong and has really strong competition. I think there is a good chance this character will deal very respectable damage. His modifiers look good, base attack looks good, and he also has free crit rate as Ascension bonus. On the other side, he is a bow character using double charge attack similar to Ganyu. If you didn't like her, it's too slow, or you don't like aiming for example, then the same applies to Lyney. He also seems to be very single target heavy, which means he closely competes with Hu Tao, and Vaporize doesn't seem to be an option for Lyney, which is a massive multiplier. I'm a little skeptical if his passive skill can make up for that in mono pyro teams. The Rosaria idea seems promising to me, but maybe that's only on paper. I don't know how the internal cooldown for pyro application with his cat heads works. I guess we will know once he is released. There you have it. I think it's Zhongli over Yelan, over Childe, over Lyney, and all of them are good, no easy skips. As for must pull, I don't really believe in that concept, but let me just say, Zhongli and Yelan are both exceptional characters. Don't get me wrong, by the way, I'm very excited for Lyney. I love the design of his skill kit, even though I'm a little skeptical. He might not end up being S tier, but I'd be surprised if he's going to be bad. Alright, we made it to the end. I hope this helped you decide on which banner to wish on. Let me know in the comments. Stay tuned for more videos. Until then, have fun and bye bye.